rain came along, that sun shined on that field. You know why Andrew has a crop every year? Because he plants. Things so simple, it's making me want to cry. Why's he got a crop? Because he plants. You know how many people say they pray for their family and they're only hurt by their family? If you're hurt by your family, you're not planning anything.
Wow.
You say, but I'm praying for my family. No, you're hurt. You're not praying, you're hurt. You call it prayer. It's expressed pain.
Wow.
Spiritualized pain. That's the phrase I'm hearing in my heart right now. It is true. You can fight with this all you want, but I'm telling you, this thing is simple. The reason that man has a crop is because he plants. I asked him this year about November. You know I wasn't planning to come down here this year. I was going to do some other things. I had a trip planned. I'm still doing the trip, but I came here on top of my other trip. Andrew, you messed me up. We talking on the phone, and I was telling him about, man, I'm going to miss you guys. I'm not coming. I've been there so much. It's been fun. It doesn't mean I'll never come back. He said, yeah, the kids were saying, when are we going to see Mr. Dan? And I explained to him, well, he ain't coming this year. And I'm like, oh. And I know he wasn't, well, he might have had a strategy, but I don't think he did that on purpose. He didn't do that on purpose, did he? Why them little horns coming up out of here? I hung up the phone, and I said, man. But when I was talking to him, I always ask you how the year went farming, because I care. I want to know. They work, they got all them grain bins down there, and it fascinates me. I'm like, full of grain, and told me there's like 150,000 bushels of some kind of seed in them bins. Like, it freaks me out. I said, how'd the crops? He said, man, everything went really good. We had a good year. You know why? Because they planted.
Yeah.
Some sow, some water. It's God that gives the increase.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's learn what it means to sow in the lives of one another.
Yeah.
Sow in the lives of our family. Your husband, your wife might be really not doing well, and it might be understandable to say they're a challenge to live with. I don't encourage you to think that way, because you'll feel sorry for yourself and you won't do well. I'd encourage you to sow seed into their life by first getting alone with God, getting a healthy view of your spouse. Because if you don't have a healthy view of your spouse, you're going to fuel the fire that you're praying to go out.
Wow.
And you don't even realize you're doing it. Because they ain't in a position to hear your disdain. They ain't in a position to hear you preach to them. You say, well, then they need to just change. See, hey, they're the problem. I ain't the problem. No, the way you're coming across is a problem. Jesus didn't come to you and save you like that.
That's right.
He didn't nag you to salvation.
Nope.
He didn't even challenge you to salvation. He loved you to.
That's right.
Right.
There's a place for a spouse to get in a bedroom and plant. Here's what it looks like. I'll give you an example. God, my spouse is so much more than they understand. They've got to be hurt inside. And I know the childhood was rough, and I know people are saying it's because they grew up this way and grew up that way. God, you're bigger than all that. And I'm looking past all that. It's not a justification for these things. It's just deception. They don't know who they are. And God, I thank you that I'm not hurting here just bitter and anger and hurting here, crying and praying to you because I'm some broken spouse. No, my spouse is broken. Something inside is wrong. And I ask you to have mercy and give me the wisdom to keep seeing them through your eyes. And God, I'm not an enabler and I'm not a doormat. My friends are telling me I'm being taken advantage of. That's impossible. My life is surrendered. I'm dead to myself and alive unto you. Who can take advantage of love? How can the devil defeat mercy unless he talks me out of it? Oh, that's a good word.
That is good.
Man, I'm preaching good. I hope you're listening. You ain't too hungry, are you? We're going to quit singing. Where are we with the food, David? What's that mean? 25 minutes?
25 minutes.
Maybe 30.
You're either going to have to endure me for 25 minutes or hear what I'm saying. Y'all good?
Yeah.
Can we have 20 minutes? Now watch it. Well, I'm giving you a living example. Listen, countless people that go to church, serve in ministries, run into tight things at home, fail to perceive it through truth, take it personally, internalize it, talk to friends about it, get bad counsel, and fall apart and let one person decide who they are. And that one person should be Jesus.
Yeah. Come on.
Come on! Get real with me. And if we really love, like we say,
Yeah.
then you're in that bedroom having talks with Jesus like this.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on the bed and you're weeping, and it's not because you're broken. It's because you're breaking for someone
Wow.
that needs to know who they are. It's like hanging there saying, Father, forgive them.
Yeah.
Man, when we look at this story, it looks like they knew what they were doing. There's a lot of schemes against Jesus. There was a lot of backbiting and gossip. But yet he's hanging there. Forgive them, Father. They know not what they do. That's all love can say in that moment.
That's right.
Total innocence being crucified. Total purity being unrespected and unrealized. And there's not a judgment in his mouth. He says, God, if they knew who I was and knew who they were, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
Forgive them, they just don't get it. They will soon. Didn't he say way before it, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me? Why? Not just because of the sacrifice, not just because his blood was shed and now the door was open for salvation, but because men would understand finally what love looks like. Did you ever hear that Misty Edwards song? What is love? That's hard to listen to. You ever hear that one? What is love? And I saw him hanging there, looking at me, looking at him, looking through me. You can't even get through that song. You check it out and listen to it. What does love look like? If I be lifted up, I will draw all men. It's the goodness of God that leads to repentance, not the reprimand of God.
Right.
Brother, you got to get off this love thing. There's a judgment of God too. Read your Bible. It's mercy that triumphs over
That's
judgment.
right.
Stop throwing that at me, preachers, and saying you can't just preach love. That's all I'm preaching.
It's good.
He said, I didn't come to judge you. I came that you might be saved. But there's the word that's going to judge you in that day. So it seems like I ought to preach the word of love, because the word of love will change your heart. When you stand there that day, the word will judge you in righteousness.
Yes.
God's not breaking your leg because you made a wrong turn in life.
That's right.
God's moving you back home, and he's on the porch waiting for you to crest the hill.
Yes. Yes.
Not to enable you to stay a sinner. To wreck you so much with his love that your heart never is the same.
That's it.
My son came home one day from being away for a long time, and he wasn't away in a good way. He wasn't on a mission field. It was the wrong mission. He didn't want to talk to me. He believed he hated me, and he had no reason to, and he admitted it. He just was mad because he was believing lies. Because my dad does what he does, now there's pressure on me, and everybody expects me to be in love with Jesus. You're privileged to be in love with Jesus.
Yeah.
Stop letting the devil lie to you people.
Yeah.
Stop having a family member that's on fire for God and letting it be a detriment to your soul.
That's right.
You get a family member that's on fire for God, and all of a sudden they're a threat. I got saved, and I had family members saying, I hope he don't talk about God at Thanksgiving. It's just amazing how folks are. Some of those folks go to church. They're like, well, there's a time and place for everything. I just don't want to talk about it. Look, I got my prayer life. I got my worship life. No, you don't even know him.
That's right.
I'm just being real.
Yeah.
You can't think like that if you know him.
That's right.
That's right.
You can talk like that if you know religion.
That's right.
Religion's man's attempt to get a hold of God. Christianity's God getting a hold of man.
Wow.
I remember opening the door the day my son knocked. I hadn't talked to him for a long time. I was canning tomatoes. I plant. I was canning tomatoes in the kitchen. I had my pressure cooker rattling. I was adjusting the heat. I love it. I'm a farmer. I bought 2 bushels basket, half bushel baskets of peaches this year, seconds, and a whole half bushel of nectarines all at the same time. And when I paid for them, the lady said, boy, you're sure putting somebody to work today. I said, why does everybody think cannon's such a job? It's such work. It's pressure canner. I said, I'm going to throw them nectarines in there. I'm going to put them peaches in hot water, skin them, and throw them in them jars, and in 10 minutes they're done. I said, honey, my wife's out of town. I'm going to do them myself, and I'll be done all them by 1 o'clock this afternoon. She said, what? She said, a man in the kitchen. I told you I had a wife. I said, I just laughed at her. She's like, a man in the kitchen. It was just funny. You had to bend there. I said, man, I told you I had a wife. And she's like, ah. I had them things all done by 1 o'clock. It was fun. But I'm doing them tomatoes, and the door went up. I thought that was the door. I opened up, and there was nobody there. And I leaned out. I thought, no, I heard the door. And he was standing against the wall. He was so thin, he blended in, and he was 123 pounds.
Wow.
Drugs do that to you. You're doing drugs and you ain't eating. Isn't it amazing that he knocked on the door,
Yeah.
that he came home?
Yeah.
He thought he hated me. He was mad at me for no reason. Didn't even know what he was doing, Jason. It's just deception. It's delusion. It's the devil. It's weird. It's the wisdom of the world, man. I'll never forget it. I looked up and I saw him and I said, hey, it's good to see you. What are you doing? He said, can I come in? I said, of course. Boy, that sure beats going, what are you doing? Well, you just going to show up here after not being here? Do you know what you've done to your mother? Like, what do you... Come on, church.
Come on, Brad. Come on.
I know what's said on that porch. I know what folks are thinking and feeling, and I know how they've been hurting and they got themselves angry, and they talk about it so much that when they're in the privileged moment of being like Christ, they just say what they've been feeling. Now you're going to put all that on him. Why do you think he's standing there?
That's right.
He's already feeling all that stuff. You don't have to enforce it.
That's right.
I was a bad husband for 13 years. You have no idea. I was not a good husband. No one would have wanted to be married to me. When I got saved, my wife wasn't happy because she wanted me saved for those 13 years. And because I wasn't, she said I had enough, and she let something die called her heart. So now when I got saved, it felt like a slap in the face to her. Like I finally found the strength to give up on him, and now he's going to pull this on me and get saved all of a sudden. Well, it had nothing to do with my marriage. It had to do with me getting right with God.
Yeah.
I didn't go to God to get my marriage back. I actually thought I hated my wife. Actually, it's what we do to people is just sad. You know, you're intimate with her. Well, we call it intimacy. I had sex with her. I had 2 kids with her. I didn't love her. I didn't even know what love was. I used her and hurt her, and it was terrible. Yeah, let me just be real. And now I'm born again. 30 minutes after I got born again, I thought of her and I cried and thought, oh my gosh, she's amazing. She's tried so hard. She's nothing but good, and I've just waxed her cold. And I remember crying, and for the first time in my life, I saw the value of a person. I hadn't been to one conference on love. I didn't read my Bible yet, but love came in me. I surrendered that day. I didn't get saved to go to heaven, guys. I got saved to change. I looked into my wretched heart and got real with it and said, there's nothing good in me. I'm a hypocrite. I'm full of pride, and I don't even like me. The pride is false. I need you to like me to feel like I'm something. This is weird. I'm lost. I was crying. I was broken, and I cried out to God and didn't even know if He was real. I looked up to a aluminum raftered ceiling almost like this and said, if you're real and love me and forgive me of all these things and have a plan for me, I'll live for you. And heaven overtook me. Overtook me. There's no way to describe it. I was pulling my hair. I was saying, you're real. I was jumping. I was running. I was freaking out. God was real. Changed everything. I was praying in my room one day. My wife was at the house. We weren't together for 5 months before I was saved. And then 7 weeks after she had an encounter with God, He came and convinced her heart, dealt with her as an individual, and make it about me. It was funny because when she got right with God, she come running to me telling me she was sorry. It freaked me out. I'm sorry. I was the toad. She tried hard. In reality, she's a victim. I'm a villain. We'd have made a good talk show. People that hated me and felt sorry for her, and nothing would have changed. It's amazing how the gospel will do that. But I'm getting to this point. She came to the door one day and was listening to me praying in there. And I was praying. I was happy. I was loud. I had music. I had Jesus Friend Forever playing. I would put it on repeat for 2.5, 3 hours. I'd turn my clocks to the wall and just camp in there. Because I didn't have a marriage I was working on. I was just growing in Him. Because I couldn't even talk. My wife was so timid, but not in that season. She was like, I don't even know what happened. I didn't get too close. And I opened the door one day to come out, and she's standing there like this. And she don't have a happy look. She said, "You make me so serious. She was me so angry." And I'm like, and it's not that I'm rehashing this, it taught me so much. Because I'm praying to become like the Lord in that bedroom.
Yeah.
She's standing her arms crossed. She's been a Christian for 13 years. She got born again 6 months before she met me, and then sadly she met me. You know, right when somebody's growing in God, they meet somebody. Try to make it God. It happens all the time. Like they're real fresh, just a couple months old and alive in God, and all of a sudden they're sure they're in love. I watch it happen all the time. You be careful with that and take it slow and make sure Jesus is the absolute center of everything you're pursuing.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people get distracted with that thing. She asked me if I was a Christian when we met. I said, well, yeah, I figured everybody is. You live in America, you go to church when you're a kid, of course I'm a Christian. There wasn't a thing Christian about me, man. I was 19, she was 23, and I wanted to sleep with her. I'm just being real. Well, you're all shocked now I'm talking like this.
Come on. Not surprised.
It had nothing to do with love. It had to do with a 19-year-old boy that ain't thinking Jesus.
Right.
Had to do with growing up in the city, and an alcoholic dad, and poverty, and just trying to make it. Get my own life, find myself. At the expense of a young little lady. I'm going to live at her expense instead of lay down my life. Do you hear the perversion?
Mm-hmm.
She just got saved, guys, for 6 months. First time I got a chance, I tried to fulfill my goal. She asked me what I was doing. I laughed. I said, "You're 23. What do you mean, what am I doing?" She said, "We're Christians." She looked at me so sincere. She said, "We're Christians." What a heart. I was like, oh, yeah, and I backed out of it, soft-pedaled my language. She was 6 months saved. I'm moving on her. I got intention. She asked me what I'm doing. I laugh at her and keep on moving, and she says, "Man, we're Christians." Phew. Do you realize how far that'll go if she has a man of God in her life? That'll honor that and honor her and teach her what honor is. Instead, I pushed her for a 9-month engagement and tried to fulfill my goal at the cost and expense of her soul. Made her cry many times. Said, "We can't do this anymore." "Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You just do that to me. You're so awesome." There I am living at her expense for 9 months telling her I love her and I don't have a clue what love is. Making her cry again and again and again. Probably ought to get real and talk about this stuff at church, huh?
Yeah.
Instead of sing hallelujah and holy is the Lamb and then live this way and struggle this way.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Probably ought to get real.
That's right.
I come out of the bedroom that day praying. She got her arms crossed, man, and she'd come at me, boy. I remember saying something like this. Not a quote, it was a long time ago, but it's pretty close probably. "You make me so sick. You make me so angry." She said, "You're standing in there like you're some holy man, like you're in there talking to God. You live like hell and like the devil for 13 years and hurt me and these kids, and now you're in there some holy man? I don't think so." Makes a great talk show. Man, the audience is pulled right in. They're showing so much sympathy for her, and they're scowling at me. They're booing me. Come on, them talk shows are out there now, just pushing rightness and wrongness.
That's right.
Victim and villain, and nobody wins. Everybody lost.
That's right.
That's true.
The victim cannot win if they think they're a victim.
Yes.
Take that,
Right.
pray on that one.
That's right.
That's it.
If you think you're a victim, you cannot win. You already lost.
That's right.
You don't hear Jesus a victim. You don't see Jesus dropping the cross on the way up to Golgotha. Saying, Father, I can't take anymore. These people make me so angry. All I do is heal their sick and free their bound and deliver their bondage. All I've done is good. Day in and day out, God, search my heart. It's all pure. And this is what they do? I've told them truth after truth after truth, and they backbite and they gossip and they argue. They ask me questions not to learn, to test me and trap me. I'm sick of it and I'm done with it. God, if they didn't change by now, they ain't changing, and I ain't taking another hit from another pole for their sake. I'm done. You can't imagine Jesus talking like that. We all have done well thinking and talking like that. You couldn't even find them words in Jesus' mouth. Why? Because he's love. And we ought to find it real hard to have them in our mouth because he's made us in his image.
That's right.
Now watch what I could have said to my wife. I could have said, well, Kim, you know you've been a Christian for 13 years and I know I haven't done well and I know I've done good, and that's an understatement. Well, Kim, what's that have to do with you? You're a Christian. You can be praying, seeking God. God changes people. You'd be able to see that my heart's turned. And you'd be able to walk in his mercy. I realize I made you angry. I realize I hurt you, but you wouldn't have to stay that way if you'd be seeking the Lord. She clawed my eyes. That's not for me to say. It's not tit for tat. It's not about me responding back. It's about me understanding what's going on and knowing I was very responsible and asking God to change that. And you look at her and your eyes fill with tears, and she's shouting you down on them steps, and you just say, can you only imagine how you must be feeling right now? I'm so sorry. I just walked right by her and got away. Just walked right by her. That wasn't me. In the past, I'd have lashed her with my tongue, backed her in a corner, and made her feel foolish for even addressing me. She said every time I did that, it just worked on her. She said sometimes it made her angry, and sometimes it just broke her. But she said in 7 weeks, it just broke her down. I didn't tell her to change one time. I didn't say, you know, you ought to be praying too. I just went and sought the Lord, and she watched me with the kids, and she watched my life. That should be enough. I didn't try to do the work of Holy Spirit. I let him do that.
Yeah.
See, love has a response. It's not a justification. And you need to know wisdom in that moment. There's no textbook on this stuff. But I promise you, love has a response. So what was cool was God came to her, and I shared it last night, and he said, it's not even the man you're angry with, it's not even the man you married, the man, et cetera, et cetera. And she got this revelation. She came running in the yard crying, saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. She's hugging me, squeezing me. She just ran across the yard and went, boom, boom. I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. This is over and over and over. It was bothering me so bad because I'm sorry. That's not her place. I was actually feeling troubled that she felt that way because I was such a knucklehead for 13 years. But I learned something through it all. She was letting me define who she was. And she was responding in the flesh, and she was apologizing for living a lie. Here's what she said to me, Jason. She said, I prayed for you for 13 years, but never because of love, always because of pain. And I tied the hand of God from moving because he won't honor that motive because that motive is not love.
Yeah.
My wife was talking like that in her fresh conversion. Like right out of the gate, I'm like, that's deep. She said, I never prayed for you because of your value. I never prayed because of mercy in my heart. I prayed because God said I was another hurting wife. And he couldn't answer my prayer. I've been so angry at you. You've been so changed for 7 weeks. And I've fought it tooth and nail. And I've tried to break you and show that you were faking a phony. And I'm so sorry. See what the gospel did? It got her eyes off of me and all that I didn't do and did do for those 13 years. And got her eyes on her. I said, okay, fine, I understand that, but who are you? See what the gospel did with me? Got my eyes off of her and feeling like I hate her and that she this and that and should have done this and all my... It threw away all that and got my eyes on me. So now her eyes are on her and my eyes are on me and Jesus. We see one another through him.
That's right.
Now that sounds like a good start.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amen.
Listen, if you're not careful in this room, you can have unresolved conflicts and sit through a service like this. You can have marriages and you can not make resolve and you can just stay quiet. Quiet sometimes is deathly when there's no resolve. Sometimes there's a time for a man to just gently touch the arm of his wife at the sink and just say, hey baby, I realize I came across a little tense this morning. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. It's no reflection on you. I'm working out some things in my soul. Just thanks for understanding and loving. I just want to tell you, you're the best. That's called resolve. And the wife has the great privilege of just standing there and doing whatever she's doing, and maybe not even turning around, just going, God, you're doing a good work in my eyes, please, man of honor. I appreciate his humility. Or the wife can say, yeah, well, that's fine. Now you tell me. You left all day. I wish you wouldn't have said in the first place. It must be in your heart. I think we got more issues than I realized. Come on. And all of a sudden you're taking this thing personal instead of Jesus. I'm just telling you, this stuff happens. I pastor long enough. I talk about this stuff with people when doors are closed. It's amazing what we let happen. I'm going to close with this because we got to go eat. I want you to read this with me. You guys get anything out of this morning?
Yeah.
You know, I said a lot. I talked lots of tight stuff.